Good Tuesday to everyone. Hope you are doing well. We really grew up with stories about Yetziat Mitzrayim. I think every educated Jewish child knows about the 10 plagues. What's interesting is that as these events began to develop in Egypt, the Almighty communicates with Moshe and tells him to tell Aharon to strike the river, and thus they're going to have the first plague of dam, of blood. And the rabbis focus on this idea. Why was it Aaron who was chosen to strike? Why not Moshe? The rabbis tell us the following, that the river protected baby Moshe 8 decades earlier as an infant in that basket from dying, from being killed by the Egyptians. Moshe had an obligation to have hakarat hatov, to have gratitude towards the river. And therefore, it was Aaron who was chosen for the striking. And the same thing relates to another plague. But there's something quite incredible here. I don't believe that the Nile would really be impacted, or the Nile is not going to have any negative feelings if it is Moshe who strikes it 80 years after protecting him. And the truth is, it has nothing to do with the Nile. It has to do with Moshe. And there's a lesson here that relates to all human beings. It is fundamental. If we want to be considered good people, we have to have hakarat hatov. We have to recognize the good and have gratitude towards those who did good for us. So the training here, or the statement that it shouldn't be Moshe who strikes the river because it protected him, it has nothing to do with the river, it has to do with Moshe. And it was to develop within Moshe and to develop within all of us, students of Moshe, that we have to remember, if someone did something good for you, remember it, even 80 years later. Have hakarat hatov, and we all know that really is what defines a person. And we are called Yehudim, right? We have to have hoda'ah, we have to have gratitude, we have to be thankful to those who did good for us. And this is something that we are taught as we begin our journey. Our journey begins with Yetziat Mitzrayim. It starts with this first plague, and it's really a fundamental lesson for the Jewish people. And I believe that it is even true if you are addressing someone that perhaps is not perfect and there are flaws there. If they did something for you, be grateful. Have hakarat hatov. A lot of turmoil south of the border in the United States of America. The last few days have not been pleasant, especially for someone like myself, a U.S. citizen, one that has hakarat hatov to a country that we consider a country of chesed, of kindness. But as the current administration is coming to an end, I do believe that as Jews, we must have hakarat hatov. Because the fact is, a good Jew is concerned about the welfare of the state of Israel. Israel should be in your heart. That's what the Torah requires us to do, right? Eretz Yisrael, it should be beloved to every single Jew, even if you don't have the privilege of living there. The administration in the White House over the past 4 years has been very, very good to Israel. And that's an understatement. Has been a major shift, and that's not going to change. The impact is going to be long-lasting from the Trump administration. And you all know there's a very long list of incredible things that were done. We, as Jews, have an obligation to have hakarat hatov to that administration. And yes, to Jared Kushner, obviously. And that is something that we have to have in mind, even if there are things that do disturb us. And that's fine. That's natural. But hakarat hatov for the state of Israel. And yes, these things do have an impact on lives. When the previous administration, 4 years ago, 8 years ago, would put pressure on Israel to open specific roads to allow the Palestinians to travel. And then, lo aleinu, there was a terrorist attack there. These things, in fact, affect lives. Such pressure did not exist over the past 4 years. And the fact that Yerushalayim was recognized as our capital, and as a result of that, many other countries realize that they have to reassess the relationship. The pressure of peace, the list is long. We have to have hakarat hatov. That doesn't mean to ignore realities, but it does mean to appreciate and be thankful and say thank you. So this is my official hakarat hatov, and it is something I learned from the parsha, and hopefully I live my life with hakarat hatov. There's a lot to be grateful for, even during challenge, and let's do our part. And I think we become better people when we recognize that indeed there's a lot of good that comes from above. It should be a wonderful day. Bye-bye.